high school, I did a lot of science research, specifically marine ecology research. I always told this story about how my dad, in high school, I signed up for this research course, and I was kind of just doing whatever the teacher assigned. And I didn't want to speak up for myself. I didn't want to say what I was interested in. My dad comes in for parent-teacher conferences, and he looks at the teacher and he says, "My daughter wants to be a marine biologist. How can she do research in marine biology?" And the teacher said, I never knew that. You know what? I'm gonna get you in touch with my PhD mentor, and we'll try to work on something for you so that you can do marine biology research or something similar. I loved every bit of it. It was kind of my home away from home, working in the lab, doing that for the summer. And I also went through some adversity in high school. We were evicted from my home my senior year. So while things got hard for us financially, economically, I was kind of just very immersed in my research and doing that and working towards my marine ecology research and looking at colleges, and that kind of kept me going, you know. And one of the things that I did during research in high school was apply to this national science competition called Intel Science Talent Search. The Intel Science Talent Search got in contact with our local newspaper called Newsday, and then Newsday called me, and they said, "So we just found out you're a semi-finalist for the Intel Science Talent Search. Can you give us a little bio about yourself?" And I was like, "What? Are you kidding? I'm a semi-finalist?" She asked me where I was living, if the news could come do an interview at my house, and I said something along the lines of, "Oh, I actually don't really have a home right now. I'm living in a shelter." And she said, "Wait, what? Wait, 1 second." And she hung up, and she called me back. She was like, "We're gonna send people to interview you right now." And within maybe an hour or two, there were just news reporters on news reporters on news reporters in my high school classroom, my research classroom, interviewing me. People lined up, people just calling me, asking for more interviews, asking for when I could set up an interview time, and I was completely blown away. I was like, I can't believe this happened from just mentioning that. And I think people were moved by the fact that I was able to accomplish something really significant in the face of adversity. "This is the Ellen DeGeneres show. They want to talk to you about possibly setting up an interview." And I was like, "What? Are you serious?" And she passes me the phone. They repeat the same thing. She's like, "I know that sounds weird, but we want to fly you and your whole family out to Los Angeles so that you can meet Ellen. You can come be on her show. You can explain your story." And I mean, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And
hi, Samantha. Hi. It is an honor to meet you.
It's an honor being here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, my pleasure. And really, you are an inspiration. You're an inspiration to me, and I hope anybody else out there watching that is having a hard time, or even people that aren't having a hard time and complaining about petty things that are going on in their lives,
for
and they look at you.
Person who's so amazing, who does such great work for people all the time, to recognize this accomplishment was unbelievable. And she also presented me with a scholarship that I use to go to school here at Bowdoin now. So that's kind of, yeah. I just had a normal night with my friends on Friday. I was hanging out, we were chatting, having a good time. I saw my roommates, I said hi, we talked about our upcoming exams and everything. And then I went to sleep, and the next morning I woke up because I was having this really bad pain in my head, and I felt really nauseous, really, really sick, and almost drunk, and I was like, how could I be drunk? I didn't drink or anything, and I got up to use the trash can because I felt so sick, and as soon as I got up, I basically fell over because my whole right side of my body was numb, and not numb, but tingly and pins and needles. And I felt really weak. And then I managed to crawl over to the garbage can. I got sick, and then I had this really sharp stabbing pain in my head. And I thought, oh my gosh, I must be having a stroke, because I took this wilderness first responder training course, and they showed us all the warning signs. They showed us pictures of people with like droopy smiles, and I didn't have a droopy smile, but I felt like this numbness in one side of my face, and just those signs, you know. And then, so I immediately called our security at our school, and I said, I don't know what's going on, but I think I'm having a stroke. Can you please send someone over? And they did. And I was basically crawling around my room trying to get everything into my bag. I like slipped some shoes on. I'm on the floor like trying to put my wallet in my purse and put my coat on. And the security comes in. He was like, do you want me to help you find a seat? And he puts me on this chest in my room. And he asks me if I ever had vertigo. And I was like, I don't know what vertigo is. And he explained it. And he said that it seemed like I was having a vertigo attack or something like that. And I said, no, I've never had that. I'm not sure what this is, but he took me to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, they immediately thought I was having a stroke. They said, it looks like you're having a stroke. That seems like what it is, but you know, you're only 20 years old. And that was kind of the ongoing theme throughout the weekend. Everyone kept saying, oh, well, it seems like you're having a stroke, but you're only 20 years old, which doesn't make it seem like a likely scenario, you know? So they ran a bunch of tests. Well, they ran a CAT scan when I got there. And they didn't see anything specifically on the CAT scan that would have pointed to any sort of whatever, you know, some sort of culprit for what was going on. So they decided to send me here, and I spent most of the day in the emergency room over there, and finally they ambulanced me over here. People were awesome, but it was really scary because I had no idea what was going on. And I progressively through the day, I just kept getting worse and worse. I couldn't even stand. I couldn't use the bathroom. I was having this terrible, really terrible, like I rated it a 10 at one point, this sharp pain in my head. And I was asking everyone, I was like, what, does anyone know what was going on? And no one really knew. And when I got here, they thought, you know, 20 years old, maybe I'm having meningitis, and there's a brain infection that's affecting me in this way. And so they ran some more, they decided to wait a day because I was actually so anxious about everything that was going on. I didn't want to have a spinal tap done the same day that I got here. So the following day they did a spinal tap. They didn't see anything that hinted at meningitis, and the doctor actually said at one point, he said something along the lines of, you're 20 years old, you should be having meningitis, you should not a stroke, you know. And I think that's why everyone was kind of a little hesitant to say that it was actually a stroke. But then they did an MRI and they found that there was actually a clot in the artery in the back of my head that had formed. The reasoning for that is still a little unclear, but the likeliest thing they think is that I tore the artery and then that just clogged, and that's what formed the stroke. And that's, you know, what's led to all this. But it was after I found out that that's indeed what happened. I had a stroke, and like all the warning signs had been there. I had been having this slight headache for a while, and you know, I went home for Thanksgiving and I told my parents that my head was bothering me. And yeah, it was just, you know, it felt a lot more optimistic, even though I had trying to ration through that. The fact that I had had a stroke was really overwhelming, but the fact that they said, this is what's wrong, this is what we're going to work towards now, you know, we can start PT, we can try to get you into rehab, and you have a goal to work towards. And they put me on medication, and I've just, you know, I've been here now. Yeah, like I said, I progressed really poorly on my first day. Things got really bad really fast. And the day after, too, I couldn't get up without all of my mom's support. My parents really, amazingly, they drove all the way up here from New York, 7 hours, to come see me. They basically, like, rocketed over here. But my mom had to help me with everything. Like, I couldn't even stand up, and I had to, you know, use a bedpan and everything. But as the days have gone by, I feel like I've gotten a lot better. I've had some headaches and stuff here and there, but I've been able to walk. Just yesterday, I walked from this chair over here across the room, like, I don't know what that is, like 20 paces or something like that with a walker. And that felt awesome compared to not being able to stand at all the first day that this happened. Yeah, now they're looking to get me into rehab, which is what I'm supposed to be talking about. My main goal is to get back to school because I'm a junior. We just signed up for our classes for next semester recently, and I'm so excited about all my classes for next semester. They're like biomechanics and like marine biogeochemistry, so all these really cool, elusive sounding things, but they're really exciting to me. I'm an environmental studies and earth and oceanographic sciences major. This is my third year, things are in full swing. So I think the biggest help for me would be trying to navigate a way to get through my courses this semester, finish what I have right now so that I can get back to school next semester and just jump right into my courses that I'll be taking. And then just going home so that I can get better and also resume every other thing that I did normally at school. You know, I work in our dining hall, and everyone in my dining hall has been really supportive. I've had friends like bring me flowers and stuff and bring me food and text me every day. And it's just such a family there that I don't want to be away from those people. You know, I love them and I love working that job. I know people don't usually say I love going to work every day, but I love working there and I love being at school and interacting with people and being able to take the really cool classes I'm excited about that I signed up for. So I guess it's just a matter of figuring out a way to get better as soon as possible and having the resources to do that, and being able to come back next semester and resume school.